Yo, what's up YouTube? Aries Fire Tiger here, and today we're going to be going over a dumb deck. And I have not played this in any tournaments yet. I'm hoping I'll be able to play this on Saturday and get a feel for how it actually plays in tournaments. But this is just something I've been brewing at home, and something you might be able to make on a little bit of a budget. So let's get right into it. We don't have a ton of Pokemon. We're only running 3 EXs, and that is going to be Genesect EX. It's got 180 hit points, it's got the ability Drive Change. Once during your turn before your attack, you may put a Pokemon tool card attached to this Pokemon into your hand. And we have Rapid Blaster for 3 Metal Energy, does 100 damage, and you may discard as many Metal Energy attached to this Pokemon as you like. This attack does 20 more damage for each energy card discarded in this way. So that is going to be our big bad EX of the deck. Our backup attackers and the ones we're going to use in the mid to late game are Mew, and we're going to run 2 copies of Mew, only 50 hit points, and we can use it to copy our basic Pokemon's attacks. And it's got free retreat, so that's pretty nice. Then we've got 2 copies of Cobalion. 120 hit points, got Quick Guard, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from basic Pokemon during your opponent's next turn. This Pokemon can't use Quick Guard during your next turn, and this attack can help us stall out against a fair number of decks right now, so it's pretty good. And then we have Revenge Blast, which is going to be our main attack, and that does 30 damage, and it does 30 more damage for each prize card your opponent has taken. So this will just get stronger and stronger as the game goes on. So pretty cool attack. We've got just 4 more, and that's a 2-2 line. We've got 2 Remoraids, and 2 Octilleries with that Abyssal Hand ability. Once during your turn, you may draw until you have 5 cards in your hand. And that's it for the Pokemon in this deck. Let's move on to stadiums and tool cards. We're running 3 stadiums. The first one we've got is Faded Town. Anytime between turns, put 2 damage counters on each Mega Evolution Pokemon. And since we've got a lot of Megas running around right now, this will be able to help us hit some crucial numbers. If we have our Genesect EX, or one of our Mews with a Fighting Fury Belt, and we can get 4 energy onto that Pokemon, we can discard 4 energy with a Faded Town in play. And by discarding 4 energy, we're going to do 80 more damage. So that's 100 plus 80, that's 180, plus 10 more from the Fighting Fury Belt is 190. Plus the Faded Town pushes that number up to 210. And on top of that, we are running 2 copies of Giovanni Scheme in this deck, which we'll get into later, and that can boost up that number to 230, so we can knock out just about any 230 Mega in one shot if we have the right cards. Of course, our other stadium has got to be Parallel City, and this will help us reduce damage from Grass, Fire, and Water Pokemon, or reduce our opponent's bench size. So, really good card right now. Tool cards, we got a whole mess of them. If I remember right, we're running 8 in total. We've got 2 copies of Experience Share to keep energy in play and out of the discard pile. We've got 3 copies of Fighting Fury Belt for more hit points and more damage. And of course, we gotta have some float stones for Octillery, and we can use these on Cobalion if we need to in the early game, if we want to put him on the bench and promote a different attacker. And this will also help us move around damaged Genesects. We can swap tools and move a damaged Genesect out of the active position and bring out a new attacker. So, yeah, 8 tool cards in this deck. Let's get into supporter cards. And like I was saying, Giovanni Scheme is in this deck. We've got 2 copies. And when you play, you choose one, draw until you have 5 cards in your hand, or your Pokemon's attacks do 20 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. So you gotta run 2 of those in this deck. Then we've got 1 Hex Maniac, which is nice for shutting down Volcanion, or Greninja Break, or Vileplume's Item Lock. And it can also help us stall for a little bit in the early game. If we hit it early, we can stop people from using Koopa or Shaman, which is pretty nice. So gotta have that. And speaking of cards you gotta have 2 copies of Lysandre, because the Lysandre's awesome. Then we've got 2 copies of N. Each player shuffles his or her hand into his or her deck. Then each player draws a card for each of his or her remaining prize cards. And that can help us in the late game and not hurt us too much, because we have Octillery to refresh our hand. And last but not least, 3 copies of Professor Sycamore. That's it. Pretty light on the supporters in this deck, but it's been alright so far. Let's get into the items next. So to keep energy into play, we are running 1 copy of Energy Recycler, and this will let us, if we have to do like big rapid blaster attacks and have to discard energy, we can get that back into our deck. So not too worried, we got 1 Energy Recycler to get 5 basic energy back. We've got 2 copies of Energy Switch to move a basic energy from one Pokemon to another one. 2 copies of Level Ball to help us search out Mews, Remoraids, and Octilleries. And to get our bench powered up fast, we gotta have 4 copies of Max Elixir. Got 1 copy of Super Rod, so we can get any combination of Pokemon and basic energy cards, up to 3 of those, from our discard pile back into our deck. Then we've got 4 Ultra Balls, just to find more Pokemon there. We can search out Genesect and Cobalion, which we can't do with the level balls. And of course we gotta have 4 copies of Versus Seekers, so we can replay some of those supporter cards. And last but not least, we've got our energy cards. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 metal energy in this deck. And it's been working out pretty good with the experience shares, the max elixirs, the recycler, and the super rod. 10 seems to work pretty good so far. There you go, guys. That is my Ghetto Blaster deck. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and maybe you'll get to play around with this, or maybe it'll give you a new idea for a different deck. Thanks for watching. Leave a like if you guys like this video. Leave a comment. Subscribe for more Pokemon TCG content, and have a great day. Peace.